talk about ourselves together. So, and we like that story way better than the individual ones. Okay, so we're going to start with prayer.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, please look after all of us in here. Help the Holy Spirit to talk through me and Catherine so that we can hopefully say something that will stick out to people in here. Help us to just get through some good pointers for everyone in their life, and we're all at different points in our life. Please help us to all at least stay on the right path towards you, Christ. We ask through your Holy Mother. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death. Amen. Saint Timothy, Saint Maura, pray for us.
Okay, so we found out about this 30 minutes ago, so this might be bad. But a little bit about myself. I was raised Catholic, came from a really good family. I have mom, dad, older sister. Went to Catholic school my whole life, still going to Catholic school, Ave. And yeah, so I had a really good upbringing and received all the sacraments like when you're supposed to, and they were all really incredible moments in my life. They were really special days that I'll always remember. And I think like a lot of the graces that I received in those sacraments came later. And yeah, so in middle school and then in high school, I was I had a good foundation in my faith, but I was just not strong in it. So I was just really quick to let it go. And I just struggled a lot with purity and partying, and it just I was living a double life basically. So my parents and teachers and everyone saw me as a really good person that just did everything right all the time, and then I just had this other life, and that's the worst. I wasn't one side or the other. I was on the fence, and that's just a lie basically. So yeah, so I was living like that most of high school, and then and I was most of my high school I was dating this really older guy, which is just a really bad idea for all the girls out here. So just side note. And then it was my junior year a little bit, but mostly my senior year. I was in Luke Young's class and John Olin's class, and John talked a lot about how the pleasures of the world just aren't going to satisfy you ever, and you can keep going after them, but you're going to end back in the same spot if you're putting them first. So drinking, that wasn't going to satisfy me. Going to these parties, that wasn't going to satisfy me. Guys weren't going to satisfy me, and so I just heard him saying that all the time, and then he talked about how if you don't change now in your life, it's going to be harder because you're building these habits, right? So if you are continuously doing them, then it's just going to form worse and worse habits, and then you might not ever change. So now, today is better than tomorrow. And so I was just hearing that every day my senior year. And then he signed me up for spiritual direction. I don't really know how I got into that, but I was going, and I just realized that my life, I wasn't happy. I had broken up with my boyfriend, and then I was still not in a super good place. But then I was at this party, and I realized that I was still yearning for love. I'd broken off a bad relationship, but I still wanted my heart to be filled. and I was still looking for it in the wrong places. And then I realized like all of those things weren't satisfying me, and I realized that like only God can do that. So I like kind of reordered my life, and you can only be happy if you're putting God first, and everything else will just kind of like fall into place. So I went to confession. I just decided that like I needed to do that, and because I had a lot of like baggage on me, and that was the best moment of my entire life. And it was hard, but it was so good, and it was the priest just said like the chains and the weight of these sins are now off you. Like you are set free. Like I am made new. I'm not who I was. God has made me beautiful from like what I've done, and so much beauty has come from that, only because God. And that day, I never looked back. Like I changed everything. I changed my friends. I changed what I did on the weekends. I changed where I went to school. And my relationship with my family changed. I didn't lie anymore. I got a lot closer with them, and that was just the best day of my life. And I've never been more happy. Never been more happy than the day that like I chose Christ. And it was a choice. And then like from that choice, I've fallen in love with Him. And so. And from that, my family has fallen in love with Him. You know, we've been Catholic, but we've just like lukewarm Catholics. And from I think my witness and some like tragedy that has like happened to my family and stuff like that, God has just become the center of our family. So it's just like this whole. It's amazing like what one yes can do. It can just like transform like so many people, and it's because of God. And so that like going to confession was a really good decision, and then like choosing Ave Maria was another really good decision. And I finally like that was something I just prayed about, and I knew God wanted me to go there. So I just like kind of took a leap of faith a little bit, and because I didn't necessarily want to go there, maybe like part of me did because I knew that was going to form me to be like who I needed to be, but it wasn't. There was like a little bit of me that was like, I don't know, like is this gonna be a good idea? But that was just another really great decision. And then the summer before I went to Ave, I worked at St. John's, and that just gave me the tools to love God more. Having this prayer structure that just helped me to be strong. So when I did go to school on my own, because it's still you still have to put the effort in no matter where you go to school. I was able to form a prayer life and like stay committed to what I learned here. And then my year at Ave was amazing. And then I came back to St. John's. And then in like my freshman year at Ave, I really spent a lot of time in prayer and adoration, and just like coming to know God. And He like really healed me. I became more myself instead of who the world was trying to make me. And then like fast forward to last summer, I learned one thing I learned last summer. It was probably the best thing that I've taken away from St. John's is the giving God silent prayer every day. And I started going to a morning holy hour here. They do it every morning, and I would come for just 30 minutes, and that has been like another instance that changed my life and like another part of my conversion. Just doing that in the morning, being with Christ like first thing part of your day, that just helped me know Him so much more, and really taught me how to pray. So like last summer, I think I like learned how to pray well for the first time ever. And then last summer also I was like I super had a crush on Jeff, but he's gonna start talking about that. But basically he'll talk about more in his story, but like last summer I also learned a lot about faith, and like he taught me that, because you'll hear from his story, but like I didn't know that it was possible that he would go to Ave, and like you know, the line in the Bible, which is like there's for nothing is possible for God, impossible for God, and like that I came to realize that last summer, and yeah, so.
All right. So I was born and raised Catholic, but I didn't believe. It was just like because of my parents. And so when you have no faith, you like start to see like disorders in your life, and I just only cared about when I was little like popularity. I just wanted to be liked by everyone. And so when I got to high school, you just, of course, like I just wanted to be the big fish, and so you try to get in the popular groups. And so I got caught up in a bad group pretty early on, where you just start to like do like really bad stuff, and each year it just got progressively worse and worse. And then it eventually caught up to me, and then like my parents found out because I like came home from a party one time and I got caught, and I like I ended up getting like I was like got caught driving under the influence, and I was grounded my senior year of high school. So I didn't really have much of a life. My parents like kind of like kept me on like a chain in the house, and so of course like you see all your friends like having fun, and of course like senior year you go off to college. And so what did I do? I picked a college that what I wanted to do. I wanted to party and play soccer. That's all I cared about. So I gave it my letter of intent to the first college who had alcohol and a soccer team. And so I went to this school in Pennsylvania, Gwen and Mercy, and what did we do? We just played soccer and drank. And so I pretty much like failed out of school because like once your grades start dipping, you just start to care less and less, and then you just start to do more bad stuff. And so probably the first step of bringing me back home was like my brother had come home from the pilgrimage that winter break, and he just started talking to me about where he was going to transfer to and stuff, and he started talking to me about the pilgrimage. And then so it kind of brought me back to like see like how like kind of evil I was, like how like disordered my life was. And so that was like my starting point. I still hadn't transitioned. I just started thinking about it more. And so I came home, and then I started working at Texas Roadhouse, and then Rich offered me a job, and I said no. And then 2 weeks into the job, I absolutely hated it, and then begged for the job. And so I started working here, and then it was an amazing experience. Like the impact, like who you surround yourself with is like so important in your life. Like it's both. It could do like harm to your life, and then it can do good. Like I surrounded myself by evil people in high school, and it cost me a lot. And then I surrounded myself with good people here and at Ave, and then it's changed my life for the better. And then so I went to CSM after my freshman year, and so I had to transfer somewhere afterwards. And so it was between I did this big tryout in Michigan, and I got like a spot on this like really good soccer team with like roots in like the professional leagues. And so I've always wanted to play professional soccer, so I thought this was it, even though it was like the Calvinist school in the country. It was Calvin College in Michigan, and I thought I was like strong enough Catholic to go there, but it was more like just an excuse so I could play soccer and do what I wanted. But the problem was I had a crush on a beautiful girl here at school, or here at St. John's, and then so I stuck. Like I knew if I went to Calvin, I probably would never see this girl again in my life, or I could go play soccer for this like really good school. And so through it all, like I went to spiritual direction, like discerning it all out, and then I chose to go to Ave for Catherine. I thought like she was worth it. Like she was better than anything involving soccer. But then I thought like my choice was like disordered. I thought like everyone like is like applauding this. I couldn't tell anyone I liked Katie because at St. John's, like I tried to I kind of ignored her here at St. John's that summer because like that's not the point of camp. Like we're not here to like date. We're here to like build up individually, and that's what I thought like we both needed. We both needed to build spiritually individually so that we could like love each other more when the time was right. And I thought that would be going to Ave. So I think like the first night was like when we started. Like pretty much like immediately at Ave we started out, which was awesome. Oh yeah. Bring it back. So I thought like I had a disorder. I had chosen Catherine instead of like soccer, but then it was really that like I was just like flustered. I was like everyone thinks I chose Ave because of like, oh, it's Catholic, and I did. It was like part of the reason, but like the main reason was definitely the woman. So I started thinking about it more, and
the woman.
as like me and Father Gallagher were talking, he's my spiritual director. Like I really didn't choose to go to Ave because of Catherine. Like I thought I just desired her, and that's why I went to Ave. But it's really like I desired God shining through her. Like God gave me like a gift to like see her beauty and to love her and to follow her, which is following him. And so that leads, so once I chose Ave, and then we're at Ave, that like starts our story.
So we've really never given this talk. Okay, so yeah, so I guess like as he said, he kind of ignored me, and true story. I had like liked him before previous summers, but I didn't think he was kind of in a different place, and like I didn't think it would ever really work out. But then it was last summer. We both were like kind of friends at that point, and then Rich actually, we can give you credit for this. He was like, "Hey, can you pick Jeff up for this like meeting, for an AD meeting?" And I was like, yeah, sure. Like he didn't have a ride, so like I picked him up, and like everything that I had like ever felt towards him was just like 10 bajillion times stronger. So I was like, wow, this is gonna be a really long summer. And then so like we were kind of like spending a lot of time together, but then he kind of just like dropped off the face of the earth because he heard that we couldn't date at camp, you know. And so he didn't want to put like what he wanted like right now and jeopardize like what we could have, because he knew it wasn't right, it wasn't the right time, and like he knew that there was gonna be time later, or there's like a better way to do it, and he believed in the mission of camp, and he wanted to do what was like good for me and for him, and I didn't know it at the time, you know. That was really hard for me. But then like when we started dating and we like came to this realization that we like liked each other both like this whole time, it just meant so much to me because he was really just loving me before we were even a thing. So that was just like this really beautiful sacrifice that he did for us that I didn't even know at the time. And it was so good because I spent so much time in prayer last summer and like putting God first and being okay with him not liking me, and like God just like allowed me to discern my vocation, and like so much good came from like being with just Christ last summer. So like that's like one of the first things I wanted to say. But then also when we got to Ave, I just wanted him to go there because I thought it would like help his soul. Like I wasn't trying to get him to go to Ave because I liked him. My prayer for him was like, Lord, wherever he is going to like be a saint, like let him go. If that was Calvin College, then like so be it. Like God knows better than me, but obviously it wasn't because that's what he chose. And so like a lot of us just like entrusted him to Mary, and like she took care of it. We were all praying for him. And then when we got to Ave, we started spending a lot of time together, and I kind of just wanted him to be the man. And so at one point I like thought we were spending too much time together, and it kind of was like we were dating, but like no one really said anything. So I kind of told him like,
she friend-zoned me.
No, I didn't. Like, that's not what happened. I literally was like, we're acting like we're dating, but no one's expressed interest, so like we should probably like take a step back, and like that was his moment to be like Katie, I love you, and like he didn't do it.
I took it. She said like she wanted to pray with other people. I took it as like, oh, I don't want to hang out with just you. I think we should bring other people.
Because we were like praying together. So, anyways, but that was good because we did take a step back, and it was hard because like he was my really good friend, and I felt like I'd lost a friend. But he didn't wait around long. So you go ahead and start speaking.
Yeah, like I came to school for this girl, so she friend-zoned me, so I was of course like a little weirded out at first. I felt like I definitely made the wrong choice. And then we just started like praying individually at that point because we were not talking at all. And then there was just like one night, like we just started texting again, and so instead of these prayers, like we just said, like let's just go on walks then in the middle of the night. A lot less romantic.
Not in the middle of the night.
It is dark out. So then we just like started then taking it slow, and then I don't even think school had happened yet because we were both at school earlier for like a month.
Well, we were like we decided. When he like asked to hang out with me, he told me how he felt about me. So like I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's not about keep that. That's vital. Okay. So before like school had even started, there was just like it was just like about time. Like I was tired of like playing around. So one night we were like walking, of course, and you can't just start off with a big talk because. You can't just start off. You have to warm up. I had to like build up the courage, and so there was like this awkward pause in our conversation for like 5 seconds, and like we just passed a chapel, so I knew God was just telling me to do this, and so I literally I told her that like I think she's amazing and she's beautiful, and I think it's a mistake that we're just friends at this point, like that we should like take this to the next like level.
You didn't say it like that.
I didn't. I say it in a cute way.
Yeah, and so I just told him that I felt the same way. And then we were just kind of, he like asked me out on a real date. So like again, he was being the man and pursuing me. And then.
We went back to praying at night now that we were a thing. But the problem with that is like even that became like disorder in our life. Like I found out like I was only going to adoration with Katie. I found out like I was only going there because she was there. Like I wasn't there for the purpose of adoration. And like she brought up like maybe we should like start praying apart. Like the most important aspect of I think of a relationship is to keep God first. Like think of it as like it is completely unfair to put that much responsibility on your partner, on your like girlfriend or boyfriend, on your special friend, whatever you want to call it. Like it's too much. Like you're putting too much responsibility on, like too much for them to even hold, and like you're literally like holding them to an accountability of like failure at all costs. Like you know they're gonna fail because like we are not perfect. We are gonna make each other mad. We're not like just perfect beings like God. Like soon we'll just be tired and we'll be cranky or something. Like we have to put like our trust in God and God first. Like we have to love Him first so that we can love our special friend.
Yeah. So that's like a really big like bit of advice that we'd like to give you guys is like just that's like a part of our prayer every day is that like we are loving God first so that we can love each other because loving Him will like magnify our love for one another. And so that was something that we learned. I learned that from my spiritual director, so going to like talk to a priest about your relationship is like really good too. Because he like gave me that advice. So we started just like going in, because it is important to pray with the person that you're with. So we would go to the chapel 2 nights a week, and then like all the other nights like we would be like, hey, have you gone yet? But like separately, you know. Still like hold each other accountability in those like just like helping them. But like it's like your relationship with God that's important too. And then what else do we want to say? Oh yeah, we also wanted to like talk about intentional dating. So we discussed like before we like communicated really well like prior to like as we were just like going on dates before we became boyfriend and girlfriend, just like our intentions, you know, like we actually had a talk. I remember like in the library one night, and we were just like, okay, like we like each other, but like he still needed to like ask me to be his girlfriend, you know. So we were like, you think you like this person, and so then you like go on, you ask him out on a date, and you're like going on dates, and it's like, okay, now do I want to like have a relationship with this person, as in like could this person be a potential spouse, you know, like that's an intentional dating. If you don't see yourself marrying the person at all, then why are you dating them? Like you're just wasting time. So we had that conversation that like we needed to, what do you say?
I was gonna say, like, guys, there's a difference between going on dates and being someone's girlfriend and boyfriend.
You didn't know that.
I was not aware of that for a while.
So yeah, it was like, it was cute. But so we talked about that, and then we had talked about like where we, like in a couple weeks, we like talked about where we were like with each other, like how we felt about the other person, and then he asked me to be his girlfriend, and like we knew that dating meant like we were discerning a vocation. It does not mean you're going to marry the person, like you don't need to know that right away, but we knew that it was like an end that we wanted for ourselves, you know. And then okay, do you have anything? Oh, okay. So we also learned a lot. One of the things that helped us was this book we read. I know maybe some of you have read it or are reading it, Men, Women, and the Mystery of Love. And that, I recommend that, we recommend that for everyone. If you're dating, if you're not dating, if you're discerning like a religious vocation, because it's just about loving other people, but it is like really good for those who are in relationships. And we just learned that like love is not an emotion, and it's so much more than that. Like yes, emotions are important, and like attraction is important, like those are things that really like draw you into the person, like when you first see them or when you first start liking them. But then there like comes a point when you that must be deeper, and in love is a choice, you know. It's not like if I feel good today, then like I love this person, and if he makes me happy, then like I love him today. But like there's gonna be days when Jeff does something that doesn't make me super happy, but like I still have to love him, you know. Like I've chosen to love him, and like despite his like shortcomings, and in his virtue, and so like just I think a lot of times society today is just, it tells you like if it feels good then do it, or like if you feel like doing this, like do that. But like love is so much more than that. It's an act of your will, and the way that he sacrifices for me every day, you know, like we have like desires that we want to be with each other, but like to say no to that because he can't give himself properly to me now at this point in his life. Like there are things that are like meant for marriage and like can be given in fullness in marriage, and he knows that like he can't give that to me now. He can't give me all of himself, and so he's not cheating me out by like just giving part of himself to me. And so like by saying no to those like emotional and physical desires, like is so much more of like an act of love. And I've never been loved more in my whole entire life by anyone. And yeah, so I don't know if you want to say anything.
That's my brother! That's my brother!
Yeah.
If you guys like have a question.
Yeah.
Katie.
Yeah.
What did you think of Jeff's talk last year when he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going down to Ave for the Spanish woman"?
I secretly speak Spanish. I don't know. Do you have a comment on that?
No comment at this point.
Does anyone else have questions? Justice, do you have a question?
Do you have a question, Jacob?
Yeah. Were you and your other brother, except me, Steve, up to no good together? Or was one of you, was Steve not up to? He was up to good.
I don't think I know what you're asking.
His name was Steve.
So when you were
even like a part of the squad.
yeah, the crew. When you were scheming, was he scheming or was he praying?
No, me and Steven were really never friends until college.
So he was always praying and you were scheming.
No, we were just like bad but separate.
Okay.
Okay, well, I mean, there's like more to dating than what we just told you. So we're only here for one more week. But like, if you guys ever have any questions, like throughout the school year, if you start dating someone or like you want to just like come talk to us privately or together, whatever, you have like our emails and our phone numbers, so you can call us and like text us, email us, whenever.
Don't take advantage of that because she's busy.
I'm texting you every day.
Yeah.
You're at my school.
I know. You're at my school.
One like main like advice that you could say like whenever someone's like dating and you're like trying to practice chastity, like what's the one thing that you would do and like it's like starts getting heated and it's just like separation or something.
Ooh.
What's like our trick?
Yeah.
Well, we have to like.
Okay. There's a couple things.
You have to come up with like boundaries. Like, okay, in a sense, like stuff that turns you on, you gotta cut that out. And you just gotta tell that person like, seriously, that turns me on. Stop. No, honest to goodness, that's what you have to say. You have to say like. But
in all seriousness, like if you really want to marry the person that you're with, like in that moment, whatever like that is not worth it. So set boundaries that are like even maybe you could handle doing something whatever, but like set big boundaries because like that is good. Like that sacrifice is good for just love of the other person. So you know it can look different for different people, but like I mean some couples like might not be able to kiss at all, you know, like, but like some people might be able to like, you know, like, but I'm just saying set good boundaries and then also pray for that every single day. You should be praying it individually, together, that like, because you cannot do chastity by yourself, you know, the moment you think that you have it all under control, you're not going to be able to do it. So like you need to do that. And then we forgot to mention this, but like we have like patron saints. Meg has probably talked to you about it. That's how we heard about them. Saint Timothy and Saint Maura. Does anyone know about them? Yeah. Do you wanna?
Okay, so Saint Timothy and Saint Maura, they were like this this married couple that were very much in love. They wanted a family, and so. But the Timothy, he was like in charge of the like these papers for the church and the Gospels, and like the king, I don't know which king it was or something. They tried to they captured him and they're trying to like get the Gospels, and so they tortured him, and then he would never give in, and so someone told the king like he was recently married. He's only been married for 20 days, and so they brought her in to try to convince him, and so she said. What?
I think it was like 20 days at death. Like it was only like a week, then he was captured, and like the last like week of their marriage was on the.
It was like brand new. Okay, it was a brand new marriage, and so they brought Maura in, and like they told her to convince her. So she goes in to talk to him, and she's like they brought me in to try to convince you to give up the papers, and then he's like, I never gave them to him. She's like, I know, and she's like, and if you do, I will never speak to you again. ever. And so they go through together. It's like St. Mora goes out of the room, and so she tells him like, I told him not to give him to you. So then they were tortured together, and they still never gave in. And then so the king crucified them both, and he faced the crosses towards each other. And so they were hung up on the cross for like 8 days. And it was like, so when St. Timothy was feeling weak, St. Mora had the strength to like keep him going, to talk him through it. And then when St. Mora was weak, St. Timothy had the strength to like keep her going.
And so like that's what you should be doing in your relationships. Like if you really want to be saints, and like that's what you should so badly want. Like that's what we want to be saints together. And so when he might be weak, like I have to be strong for him. Like I need to be St. Mora to him. And when I'm like weak in like my chastity or in my personal sin or whatever, he needs to be strong for me. Like he needs to be a St. Timothy. And like that is love. That sacrifice is true love. So I don't know if that helps your question. Yeah. Yeah.
Are we all gonna get invited?
There's a lot of people to meet.
All
Alright, is that it?
Adoration.
Yeah.